Well, there's still a developmental piece at both levels. You know, players in the NFL still want to be developed. You know, they want to be shown that you're going to help them progress as a player and make as much money as they can make. If you can't do that for them, then they want nothing to do with it, which is fine. I understand that. That's our job. It's a little different in college because there's more to it in terms of age, maturity level, going to class, doing shit right. You know, just there's not that those guys got to learn to do shit right because they're still young, but it's just different. You know, you're on a college campus. But getting off that is you know, the credit goes to him. And not to me. Like, you know, at the end of the day, he loves football. He's smart as hell. Wants to be an elite player. I think it comes together at a certain time where maybe at some point, and I said it in there, that he might have thought, I walk on, I go to junior college, I come back. Like, I want to be the quarterback of Georgia, but do I really believe that? And then on our end, it's like, he wants to be the quarterback of Georgia. Do we really believe that? And I'll be damned if we go to Arkansas and play like shit to start, and thank God he's there for us, because we could have lost that game. And he comes in and plays his ass off, you know, shows the same thing he's been doing all the time during practice. And, you know, it's a building process collectively together, but it's a credit to him because, you know, at times you look other directions, players, and you're not smart enough to see what's really right under your nose, and the player that you have sitting right there. You know? And at the end of the day, we're not perfect. We're human as well. We don't always see it the right way, but the key is you change course and make it right. Who should be playing?
When did you believe he was the guy?
Oh, I don't know. Shit, there's holes in the game on that shit. There's times I call some shit, I don't know if I'm the guy. So, you know, I mean, it's
yeah, JT, going back.
One thing I'll say about Stetson is that he's a battler. And he's not unlike any other quarterback. He makes mistakes, but he's pretty good at putting the back of his mind and finding ways to continue to battle and make plays. And you know, so you know, there's all those moments of, you know, when players have sustained success. I think builds confidence in any coach. I think sustained success is the greatest indicator of your confidence in any given player, just like any relationship. Sustained. A little bit. My marriage has gotten better over the years with sustained success.
Go ahead.
Sustained. Her putting up with my ass. I guess they're just over time with anybody. You develop a certain amount of confidence in any player, any business that you have somebody that works for you or you work with. So I think that's probably the biggest thing.
You've talked about Kirby, the trust you have in him and his work ethic. Is that why you're not a head coach again in terms of, presumably you have these opportunities. I mean, is this a great place to be at the stage of your life and career?
First off, no one wants my old ass. So that's usually why that's the case. I'm joking in general. But, you know, first of all, I have a great job. I said that many times over, you know, I fell into this job and the culture was already set. You know, I landed here with good players. Culture already set. My job was just to try and do the best I could to make it better. The best way I could. Let my ass off to help them make it better. And hopefully I've done that. But, you know, when you have a really good job, and they pay you a lot of money, I mean, it's, you have to be careful. The grass isn't always greener. And money isn't everything. I value getting paid, but don't get me wrong, I don't do this for nothing. But the reality is that you have to be careful because your happiness isn't winning. It's about winning. It's the fight's on in the locker room. You know, that's what it's about. David, it says, yeah, I'm at school A, and boy, the city's great, and I love it. It's great for my family. And before an 8, it says, man, I'm happy as hell. That's not me. I'd rather be winning in Alaska than losing in San Diego. So the reality is that's what this is about. It's about winning. It's about the fights on the locker room. It's about feeling of self-worth. Money becomes a part of that. I get it. But when you take a job for money, you're still sitting in that chair and not happy. So, and that doesn't, I mean, I haven't had, everybody, I don't control what's out there in the media. I don't control that what gets put out there. So the majority of what's put out there, I have not been involved in. I don't get it. That's okay. It's fine. People think I am. That's fine.
Do you have any desire to either be a head coach or an NFL coordinator?
What's funny is I don't know. At some point in my career, I thought I knew exactly like what I wanted next year, in 5 years, in 10 years. Really, what I wanted. I don't know if it's just getting old or the appreciation for the job you have, but I don't control opportunities that come my way. I would never say never to anything. I would never say no to anything. But I love where I'm at because I believe we're going to win. I believe in the head coach. So those are all huge factors in where you decide to stay as a coach. If winning's important, if having good players is important, and I get to run the offense. I mean, there's a lot of positives. So it's not, no one's ever heard me say publicly that, hey, I have to go do this or I want to go do that. At one point, yeah, I want to be the head coach at Southern Miss. At that point, I thought, yeah, maybe being a head coach, I don't know, somewhere else. It's important. But I don't know that, and every year brings different challenges. Every year brings different thoughts, different jobs, present different excitement.
Todd, can you talk about, you mentioned Arkansas, you were talking COVID year. I want to ask you about Arkansas in the middle of the season. It almost looked like you flipped the offense with JT, your 4 wide spread. Then you throw 11 passes against Arkansas and you turn into this RPO shot play. To me, that from the outside looking in, that looked like an incredible transformation as you adjusted to your quarterback and your personnel. Can you talk about that shift last season?
You know, incredible is probably a strong word. I think it's just football. It's just football plays. Everybody's trying to find out what your players do best. And trying to mainstream whatever position that is to utilizing their skill set, maximizing that skill set on game day. You know, we played Arkansas last year, and going into that game, Texas and A&M at State spread, and the style of defense, you know, did present itself in what we saw in film, and we were capable of playing physical football, and we didn't have to throw the ball. Now, what helps that? See, again, 2 years ago was completely different, you know, because 2 years ago, and we've been really good at defense. I don't mean everybody, okay? Arkansas, we take the opening kickoff and we score. They go 3 and out, we score, we block a punt, just 21. Okay, well, at that point, with our defense, the only way we were going to lose if we turned it over. So that lent itself into that. Maybe similar to Michigan in the second half. Last year, like at that point, we throw in the first half, but it didn't matter at that point. The only thing you can do is, hey, let's grind away the game. And we did that a bunch more last year than this year.
Did you come into this season, and then I guess the other game I want to ask you about was Oregon. I mean, you're playing Dan, who everybody knows, you know, they knows you like the back of your hand, and you go to this perimeter. I don't know if West Coast is the right term, but that attack, I mean, was that going to be the offense, or was that you know what Dan knows, what you know what you? I mean, how much chess was in that matchup? You scored on your first 7 drives.
Yeah, sometimes shit just works. I mean, I wish I had a better answer than that. I mean, sometimes stuff doesn't work, and it's not grasping, you know, trying, and sometimes shit just works, and when you try and screw it up, just when you bust a protection, the guy just scrambles out and makes a play, you know, interestingly enough, you know, playing that first game, really, we certainly had an advantage. Dan being here, the same style of defense, and what we go against every day. And when you're prepping for them during 2-a-days, you don't even need to have scout cards. Now they're going to change certain things, but let's just go against our defense. Let's run the same things, okay? Like, and yeah, there's some things you don't know what they're going to do and adjust, but ultimately, you know, sometimes things just work. We had good players. Everything kind of went our way. They would probably say the opposite if we played them later. They were feeling more confident, which is true. You know, when you play somebody, I don't really look at it that way other than that was our day that day. And we had planned on doing some more things perimeter-wise. You know, as our line developed, we needed to become more of a perimeter team. We just needed to be. We just losing 2 running backs. You know, one time and Kendall's been in and out. So it just, we just thought we needed to be more that way.
You went all season basically without AD, and you got a chance to get him back. What's it been like just kind of watching him operate in practice? Because I know that you guys were really excited about him in the preseason, and he looked like a guy in that first game that was going to be a problem all year. Getting him back for the
process.
Yeah.
Frustration for him, probably as much as anything. Trying to come back and couldn't come back, re-injuring, but then his thumb as well. He's had a couple different things. And then to come back, and he's a young player still developing, so he's had a good week. He's had a good month trying to get himself back, and we'll see what we've got in himself.
Todd, you talked about Chris kind of settling into this job here in Georgia. Just what was it about this place? Why did you wind up here? What was the process in your mind of like, this is where I'm going to go next?
Well, I was looking forward to getting back to calling because I didn't call it occasionally. I called it 1 year in Tampa. And I was looking forward to calling it again. And the right opportunity. Like I said, I don't take it lightly in terms of the jobs that I look at. Kirby Smart's in Georgia alone. It's a big, big piece. His heart is here. This is his home. In today's day and age, when coaches take up the jobs and the grass is greener, I didn't feel like that would be the case. He wanted to change the perception of Georgia's offense. Now, that's easier said than done. But he wanted to be aggressive in that regard to be able to get the right skill guys and quarterbacks. I knew we'd always be really good on defense, which is very comfortable, very comforting for a coordinator because you don't always have to feel like you're up against it. It may look good statistically because if you're down in games, you're throwing it, you're gaining yards, and it makes you feel good at the end. But at the end of the day, it's about winning. You can stay usually within the framework of your game plan. You don't have to stray that far from it when you're in the game. You're never looking at like, holy shit, I got to get away from X, Y, and Z of what we're doing and get away from who we really are. So that's as big as anything is. And at the end of the day, I said this before, Georgia checks all the boxes. In the city of Atlanta, it's an elite academic school. It's got unbelievable sports, unbelievable facilities. In today's day and age with players, see, when I first started, I'm going to get on a real rant here, okay? And because I still can talk right now. So is that it used to be when I first started, players took 5 visits. They got recruited as seniors. They didn't go anywhere. Parents didn't have money. They didn't take their station wagon and drive freaking 2,000 miles somewhere. All right, other than Disney World or shit like I did as a kid. But the reality is, they took visits, but they'd never seen the place and didn't make those decisions till they went. But that made jobs that were outliers very attractive. And I'm not going to mention what we have an advantage of now. That's not the way it is. Kids are going out earlier. 8th graders, freshmen, sophomores. They're flying places. They're in the summers. They're going to look at places. We got Delta Airlines in the city of Atlanta. And within 5 hours of there, you've got all of these schools. So in the summers, when they're going to visit places, they're going to stop by Georgia. And this is about having good players. Okay? So we're going to have a chance to get good players, not just from our region, but from nationally. Because when they fly into Atlanta, they're a one-stop shop. They're going to a lot of places. Where places that are outliers that you're going there to get there. You're not just traveling through. You have to fight like hell to get there. So we have that advantage. That was big on State of Atlanta, lead academics, the way recruiting is now going. And I'm talking about NIL, everybody's going to have that. But then the next 50 years of their life, the city of Atlanta, unbelievable opportunities for all of our players down the road. So those are all things. You have to have good players. You have to have unbelievable support and a tremendous coaching staff. And we have all those things which give yourself a chance to be successful.
What's your relationship like with Kirby Smart?
What's that?
What's your relationship like with Kirby Smart? You talked about how,
You have to ask him. But I know I say that joke. I think it's great. But let's not kid ourselves about what we do. I'm paid to score points and run the offense. And that relationship only goes so far. And I don't want it anymore. He's my boss. My job is to work my ass off for us to be as good as we can above. The moment I don't see it that way, I'm wrong. This is a business. This isn't, I've run an organization. This is a family. This isn't a family. You're going to fire me if we suck. So no offense to family. This is the way it is. What we choose to do. It's a big business. And I get it that way. And my job is to do the best job I can for Kirby Smart and our players. And yeah, that's hard. I mean, it's a hard job. I mean, but it's hard to win a lot.
Well, let me phrase it this way.
That's part of it.
What's it like working for him?
It's been great. And it's been everything he said it would be when he hired me. He said, I'll let you do what you want to do. Yeah, I'm the head coach. And there's certain things I believe in. But I want someone that can come in and run it. And I don't have to worry about it.
Is that a phone call or a meeting?
Yeah, again,
Was that a phone call or a personal meeting when you guys had the conversation?
it was a meeting. I didn't know if I believed at the time. I don't know if it was a sales pitch. For me to come, but he's done exactly that. The things that he said that he needed and that he wanted, he's done all of that. And hopefully I've helped him mind it.
Todd, a career can be a winding road, right? Just where you were from a professional standpoint, a personal standpoint after Cleveland, and now where you are now, here you are with this, how important you are to a successful program. Just what was that transition like, and how would you describe where you were coming out of Cleveland into what you want to do next with your career?
Well, that was a really frustrating year in Cleveland. I mean, you go from Tampa, where we had gotten better on offense. Yeah, we had to be let go. We just turned it over too much. And, I thought Cleveland was a tremendous opportunity. I still believe in that. I believe in the reason I went there. I just didn't do a good enough job. I did a poor job with the role that I had there. I have a lot of regret the way I handled certain things. We had good players, and we just didn't win. And, the first year coming here was hard. We had COVID. We didn't have spring ball. We were gone for 3 months. We had really, really good defensive players. We've always had, but I'm talking like really generational. You talk about the guys who got drafted last year. Well, the year before that, all those guys were there, and the other guys that got drafted. We just got knocked in the dirt like every day in fall camp. And I'm thinking, this sucks. And it was a matter of what we did offensively and trying to morph into NFL things that guys can handle and other ideas that guys have, because it's a collective, effort by everybody. And you do need recruits, and you need a staff that adds value to your game plan. If anybody thinks they got all the answers, they're wrong. They don't. I don't. My job is to coordinate areas that we give to the whole staff and allow them to, empower them into that their ideas are valued, and that Stetson's ideas are valued. And then my job is to coordinate it and try to make sure during the week we find our ass off to make it look right, so that Saturday it looks that way and be consistent. And so we have a tremendous staff that adds value to that, and they don't get nearly as much credit for the game planning that we do every given week. And that's a big part of it, because we have the resources to be able to add value to a staff, and that's huge. Whether it's recruiting, whether it's coaching and knowledge of the sport, to be able to add value to that. Because the less resources you have, the more that's on your plate in terms of preparation for practice, recruiting, in terms of game time. The more resources you have, where you have people with expertise that will add a lot of value to that. And you've seen that with our staff on both sides. The more resources you have. Now, you have to be careful of how many ideas you have. And then you have to shrink that down, and that's hard, because offense is fun to create shit. So you just have to find a way to all the plays at work.
Have you faced Knowles before? Have you faced Coach Knowles before? I didn't know if you'd ever faced
My
him.
son's a student coach at Oklahoma State.
But I mean, you've never.
Give me shit.
Right. But I mean, do they do anything? I mean, you're obviously known as a guru with all the things you do offensively. What does Knowles do? What makes Ohio State?
It's pretty guru's not. First of all, there is no such thing as guru. What's important is this Saturday, because none of the rest of the shit matters if you don't do it on Saturday. So it's the consistency of what you do. And the coaches that have been around me throughout any of my time, I've had success in the players. Because cookies taste better with sugar, not with vinegar. So you have to have pieces around it that make it go. It's just the way it is. And, he did a great job at Oklahoma State. You just look at their film. A lot of those guys came back last year because of him. because of the style and the defensive coach at Oklahoma State, and that's a credit to him. It's getting his guys to play hard. The biggest thing that you get out of Oklahoma State was, for years it was an offensive school. You're in the Big 12, and he changed that. They were good on offense and have been, but he got them to play elite defense and got a bunch of guys to come back, and that's a credit to him. And to me, it's guys want to come back and play for somebody, play for the University of Mike against him. That's a huge credit for him. He does a tremendous job, and they're very difficult to prepare for. They're very disruptive. He has an absence of fear. He's not afraid to pressure you. And, we have our hands full, just like we do against any talented team and talented staff. That's just the way it is. You learn that in the NFL. That's one thing that benefits being in the NFL. You're going to play a good team every week. You're going to play really good coaches. You can win or lose every week. The best thing about the NFL is you can win every week. The worst thing is you can lose because you're playing a good team. That's why 11-6 or 10-7 is a really good record.
Jim,
really good teams.
I'm sorry. Jim has taken a lot of heat for the second half against Michigan. After you've watched the tape and everything, do you feel like that's warranted?
Yeah, I don't know. The last 2 touchdowns that Edwards had was they're trying to get the ball back. So we've had touchdowns like that at the end of the game where it's like, okay, they're trying to get the ball back and we split somebody and we go score. So to me, when the game was in the balance, like I said in there, they went 0 early in the game and the corner missed the tackle and he went for whatever amount of yards. That was one of the touchdowns. Michigan ran like a little switch route and they ran into each other. They hit the tight end. That was one. They caught him in the cloud coverage and hit him on a play action. So, it comes with the territory. I mean, if you give up big plays and you lose, you're going to get critiqued. And the week before, you might have shut somebody out and you're on top of the world. That's the shit we deal with, right? This week, if we don't score, then that guru praise will be a lot. That won't be good. It's just the way it is. Because it's a week-to-week deal. At the end of the year, averages just make you feel good. You can't be. The first game of the year, we were 9 and 10 on third downs, whatever the hell it was. Well, the next week, you go over 10, you're 45% over 2 games, and you suck. But it makes you feel good because you somehow balanced it out. But that doesn't make a shit, It's like fantasy football. You don't carry over. Whatever the next week, you better have your guys produce. It's what we do. Again, I got a little rant. But he does a great job. He does a great job. That's over-evaluated. Michigan's a good football team. They lost to a good football team. That happens. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this week, a good team's going to lose. Last year we played Michigan, a good team lost. When we played Alabama, one time we won, one time we lost. That's just the way it goes. You prepare your ass off. Fight like hell to have the product look like you want it to look like. When you play good teams, there's no guarantee it's going to go your way. You just give everything you can to it, the process of it, and then you live with the result.
There's big questions about their physicality, though. Do you see any of that?
Well, that's just saying it because it's Michigan, and that's all. I don't buy that. I don't buy that watching film. One like I watched Penn State, watch them run all over them. They had some big plays too, and obviously they created some turnovers, and that's part of the deal. They won the game against Penn State because they created all the turnovers and scores and set them up, on the road where they had to have it. So the game is so different now. It's about getting off the field on third down, creating turnovers and lost yardage plays. And if you're going to do that, you're going to give up some big plays. You're not going to create havoc and not give up big plays. I don't know how you think that. I'm just saying that's part of it. Like, you have to be able to do that in order to have success. And obviously, the problem is just like that, just like any defense, it's just the things that he's called over the year, a certain amount of times, it's gotten them off the field. It's created havoc. Just what happened in that game a couple of times. They hit some plays and it didn't go their way. So sometimes it happens that way.
Talk about how Kirby Smart's hard is at Georgia, and you talk about added value to a coach's staff. Mike Bobo, 1 year working with him, you credited him with a play or two, I think, at a Broyles thing. What's Mike meant to you and this staff?
Well, it's interesting because when Kirby came to me, he talked about Mike Bobo joining the staff, which I knew he was going to join the staff, whether I agreed to it or not. So he made it seem like it was my choice, but it really wasn't. But at the end of the day, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And Mike Bobo's heart is at Georgia. And Will Muschamp's heart is at Georgia. I'm a vagabond. I love it at Georgia, but I'm not. That's not who I am. That's okay. Doesn't mean I don't give everything to University of Georgia, but their heart is here. But Mike, you talk about those roles that a Buster Faulkner plays, or that Mike Bobo valuable and you end up having to check your ego because they both have done it. Anybody you get in there that's been a coordinator saying that, to them, there's probably plenty of times they're like, I'm going to do that shit that way. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. And yet to check their ego and to just sit there and do whatever I've asked them. Mike Bobo's drawn cards for us. He's drawn cards like a 22-year-old guy right on it. Who does that? Who says I'm going to embrace this role of doing red zone? And I can't take everything guys have as a suggestion. And yet, the lack of ego and yet just wanting to do things has been unbelievable. And we wouldn't be where we're at with all of those people that support us, be it our younger coaches, be it our GAs, be it the analysts that are a part of that add value to where we're at. Because when you're playing good teams and you're playing in a league like we are, all you're trying to do is find small percentages, just like in the NFL. Where can we gain 1% here or there? Can we be better in terms of our game plan by 1%? The people we surround ourselves with, can we prepare a certain way? Can we take care of our bodies? He's just trying to gain little advantages here or there. And, to have guys like that check their ego, that have to put up with my ass every day, and the way I am, and to add an extreme amount of value to our staff. I'm fired up. Mike's here. I hope he's here for a long time. So